Hey, Mr. Kemino here with the Unit 3 Assessment Study Guide. Goal number 1 is find multiples and factors. First things first, a factor is a counting number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whose product with some other counting number equals n. For example, 2 and 3 are factors of 6 because 2 times 3 equals 6. So for example, the 2 and the 3, because they multiply to make 6, they're both factors of 6. So for example, let's find the factors of 40. So here's 40. 1 times 40 is going to give me 40. 2 times 20. 4 times 10. And 5 times 8. So if I list all of those numbers, I'm going to have 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, 10, 20, and 40. Tons of factors, all counting numbers that can be multiplied to make 40. Pause the video and you try the next problem. Alright, let's see how you did. Factors of 9 are 1, 3, and 9. Not quite so many. Great job. Now, our goal was to find multiples and factors. We've talked about what factors are. Let's talk about what multiples are. A multiple is a product of n and a counting number. For example, the multiples of 7 are 7, 14, 21, 28, and on and on. An example I've put here is 3. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30, and so on down the list. Let's complete the Venn diagram here. I'm going to give you a couple, then I'll pause the video and see if you can find the rest. So multiples of 3 would be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. 24 is a multiple of 3 and 8, so it goes in the middle. 27 and 30. Why don't you fill in the multiples of 8? Pause the video and give it a try. Cool. So 8, 16, 24 we've already got in the middle. 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, and 80. It turns out in this Venn diagram there's only one number that both have. In some Venn diagrams they might share a lot of multiples. So multiples are really just a row or a column on a multiplication chart. So that, for example, multiples of 8 are 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, and so on. Goal number 2, solve addition and subtraction number stories. Here's a really helpful strategy to use. We'll try one together. Cubes. C. Circle the key numbers, the ones that matter. U. Underline the question. B. Box the math action words that show you the operation. E. Evaluate steps to take. And S. Solve and check. The Empire State Building is a 102-story skyscraper in Midtown Manhattan. It was built in 1929. The Empire State Building is 1,250 feet tall. The more recent Freedom Tower was finished in 2006 and reaches 1,780 feet into the sky. How much taller is Freedom Tower? Okay, the numbers that matter would be the numbers that are talking about height. So we've got 1,250 feet and 1,780 feet. So that's the C. Let's do the U for underline. The question is, how much taller is Freedom Tower? Now the math action words, this one's a little tricky. I'm going to box how much taller. That tells me they're looking for the difference or subtraction. So the steps I'm going to take is subtract the taller one, 1,780, minus the shorter, 1,250. And I believe that will give me the answer. Let me set that problem over here. And let's solve it. The difference between the two towers is 530 feet. Now, last part was check. The way we're going to check that is add it back to the smaller tower. So 1,250 plus 530. Let's see if we get it back. Whew! It got back. Our answer is correct. Why don't you go ahead and solve this problem with your side partner? Pause the video. Alright, first thing, let's try our cubes. So, circling the key numbers. If the question is how old, the key numbers are going to be the ages. So 50 years and 31 years older. Okay, underline the question. How old is Eric's buffalo nickel? Okay, boxing. Well, there's one that really helps to me. It's the word older. And evaluate the steps to take. If one is 50 and then one is older, it must be a higher number. So I'm going to add. So 50 years plus 31 years. If I add those together, I get 81. So I believe Eric's nickel is 81 years old. The way to check that would be use the opposite operation. 81 minus 31 is 50. We did it correctly. Goals 3 and 4 are know multiplication and division facts, and Mr. Kemeno's tidbit is know how to use them. This is a fact triangle right here. The number on the top with the little dot is the product or the answer in this fact family, and these two numbers are the factors. An important power vocab word to know is a factor of a counting number is a counting number whose product with some other counting number equals n, just like before. So these two numbers, 2 and 3, are factors of 6. So we're going to go ahead and try this one together. If the factors are 4 and 6, the product would be 4 times 3 equals 12. Pause the video and try the side partner questions and the independent questions. And we're back. Okay, 5 times what makes 20? 5 times 4 makes 20. Something times 8 makes 48. That something is 6. 7 and 2 are factors that make a product of 14. 5 times 7 makes 35. And 8 times 4 gives a product of 32. Great job. Ooh, cool. New Zealand. Goals 5 and 6. Use a map scale and solve what's my rule problems. A map scale is a tool to help you estimate real distances between places shown in a map. It relates distances on the map to distances in the real world. For example, a map scale may show that 1 inch on a map represents 100 miles in the real world. Right here, I have a fancy schmancy map for you of one of my favorite countries in the whole world, New Zealand. And the scale right down here shows that 1 inch on your ruler represents about 100 miles in real life. So question number 1, we'll do this together. If your ruler shows that Auckland, the largest city, was about half an inch from Tauranga, roughly how many miles would that be? So if half of an inch is 50 miles, tells me it's about a 50-mile car trip from Auckland to Tauranga. go ahead and pause your video and try this one down here. Alright, if your ruler shows a flight from Wellington to Christchurch was 1 inch on the map, roughly how many miles would that be? Well, 1 inch is 100 miles. Easy peasy. So we said that was 100 miles. Independent practice. We'll just do it together. If your ruler shows a flight from Napier to Greymouth was 2 inches on the map, if 1 inch was 100 miles, 2 inches would be 200 miles. Now, in and out tables. By now you've had tons of practice on these. This shouldn't be too hard. If you notice, the numbers are going up. So it tells me it's either multiplication or addition. Go ahead and figure out what the rule is with your side partner and fill in the table. Go ahead and pause the video. Alright, by now you know that 7 times 5 makes 35, as well as 3 times 5 makes 15. So we know our rule is times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 5 is 5. Now to go the other way, I've got to work it backwards. So the opposite of 5 is divide. Divide 25 by 5 and I get 5. Divide 30 by 5 and I get 6. Excellent work. Our next goal is actually a goal from before. It's a revisited goal. Determine if number sentences are true or false. Math sentences are a math way to express or write information. Just like normal sentences, they can be true, false, or impossible to tell. One thing to remember, greater than, this sign means greater than, this sign means less than. I kind of like imagining an alligator. He eats the bigger number. So for example, 10 is the bigger number for 5. Little Pac-Man eating the 10. Okay. 2 times 6 is 12. And they're saying 12 is bigger than 43, but that's totally not true. It's false. Now, 5 times 5 isn't really a math sentence because they're not drawing any kind of conclusion, so there's really no way to know because they haven't made a conclusion. Now, 5 times 4 is 20. We do that first because it's in parentheses. Then we'll divide by 2. That whole side makes 10. They're saying 10 is less than 24 because 4 times 6 is 24. 10 is less than 24. That's true. There's your answer. Let's try this together. 2 times 4 is 8, and 80 divided by 10 is 8. Those are equal. This is true. Pause the video and try with your side partner, and try a few on your own. Alright, 3 times 5 is 15. 15 is not less than 10. That is absolutely false. Let's try the next one. I'm going to do the parentheses first. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 times 5 does equal 15. So we're rocking true for that answer. Coming to the ones you did on your own, I do the parentheses first. 2 times 10 is 20. Divide by 5. 5 goes into 24 times. On the other side, 2 times 2 is 4. That, my friend, is true. Uh-oh. 5 times 7 equals what? No one knows. It is impossible to tell.